Alright, let's break down one of the most violent lightweight matchups the UFC can make. Benoit Saint Denis versus Paddy Pimblett. This isn't just another top 10 showdown. This is a potential title eliminator between two of the most entertaining fighters in the lightweight division, officially scheduled for the co-main event of UFC 329. On one end, you've got Benoit Saint Denis, the god of war, a relentless finisher who never takes a backward step. On the other side, you've got Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, one of the UFC's biggest stars and a dangerous submission specialist who's proven he belongs among the elite. This fight is basically relentless pressure versus calculated opportunism. So let's break it down. First, let's talk about Benoit Saint Denis. If there's one word to describe BSD, it's relentless. He fights every second like he's trying to finish the fight. There's no filling out process. There's no coasting. He's constantly moving forward. And that's something that you always see when you watch BSD fight. And this leads into his aggressive grappling. BSD is one of the best offensive grapplers in the division. He chains together double legs, body locks, trips, scrambles, anyone. Like throughout the fight, he's always trying to switch that skill set and instill it in his game plan. And once the fight hits the mat, he's immediately hunting for submissions or brutal ground and pound. And you have to combine this with his incredible pace. Few lightweights can maintain the pace that BSD fights at. He forces opponents to work every second. That pressure eventually breaks many fighters mentally. And of course, we do have to talk about his striking. Early in his UFC career, striking was a weakness in my opinion. Now, it's actually become a weapon. Look at his fight with Marisa Rufi. He's throwing sharper combinations, cleaner jabs, and heavier hooks than ever before. And again, we have to circle back to his finishing mentality. Saint Denis doesn't fight to win decisions, like I said. I know I talked about it when it comes to the grappling, but even on the stand-up game, look at his fight with Dustin Poirier, right? That's how he got finished. He's always aggressive, always going forward. He fights to finish. Whether it's by knockout or submission, he's constantly looking for a stoppage. And I think that will play a big factor in his fight against Paddy Pimblett. So when we take a quick look at BSD's recent fight record, very impressive, right? Has a TKO win round 2 against Dan Hooker. Before that, Beneil Dariush. Before that, had a submission against Marisa Rufi. Before that, submitted Kyle Perplek. And the most disappointing fight was losing to Retano Moicano by TKO in round 2. And honestly speaking, he's really bounced back from that horrible loss. I mean, he looked terrible in that fight. I don't know what it was. To make it worse, Retano Moicano actually had like a shoulder injury in that fight, so it made no sense. It was a big favorite in that fight. But the man has come back and had 4 wins in a row by finish. 2 subs, 2 TKOs. Like I said, he always fights to finish. Now let's talk about Paddy Pimblett. For years, critics questioned whether Paddy could compare with elite lightweights, but every time the competition has improved, right? You can call him an industry plant, but one thing is a fact. Each opponent that he has had has been better than the previous, and he still stands his ground. Now, of course, he's coming off a loss to Justin Gaethje, but we're gonna get into that in a little bit. When we talk about his fight style, we have to talk about the errors, the scrambles. Give him one mistake and he'll make you tap, and this is going to play a big factor in this fight. Of course, we have to talk about Paddy's fight IQ. A lot of people criticize Paddy a lot, including me, right? His striking can be atrocious sometimes. The amount of times you see him get hit, Scousers don't get knocked out, that's something he says. Doesn't keep his hands up for the most part, but we still have to talk about his improved fight IQ. Instead of chasing wild exchanges, which is something he used to do a lot, he's actually begun mixing in the wrestling, control time, and calculated pressure. He's evolving. Now, there's so many mistakes he made in his fight against Justin Gaethje. For sure, right? He got into a brawl. But again, we're talking about Gaethje. Gaethje is the type of fighter who pressures you into that type of fight. I don't think BSD is the type of fighter that will pressure you into his type of fight. He's just an aggressive fighter, right? But Paddy is actually getting better when it comes to mixing in the striking and the grappling. And we do have to talk about the durability. Like I said, Scousers don't get knocked out. So far, he's not been knocked out, right? Ilia Topuria quit on the stool against Justin Gaethje, but Paddy Pimblett survived. And I mean, the man has been bragging about that for a while now. Paddy has shown tremendous toughness, especially in that fight. Right now, to be fair, we're gonna see how he looks in this, because Justin Gaethje is known for breaking fighters, but we're gonna see how that turns out in this fight. And we have to talk about his offensive grappling, and I think those transitions will make him almost an equal when it comes to the grappling with BSD, but we're going to get into the stylistic matchup later in this video. But yeah, we have to take account of Paddy's mixing of the striking and the grappling when it comes to his fight style. So when you take a look at Paddy's recent fight record, this is exactly what I was talking about. We're going to start from Jared Gordon, which obviously he lost that fight. That was an atrocious robbery, but the record says he won, right? But look at how the opponents keep improving. Jared Gordon, Tony Ferguson, Ken Green, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, right? The opponents, like slightly, they keep getting better now. Justin Gaethje is levels above all these other guys, but still there's an improvement. And it's fair to say when he fought Justin Gaethje, he was fraud checked. I know that's a narrative going in, but now that loss has kind of aged well, because I feel like Justin Gaethje is just one of those fighters who was slept on a lot, especially with his performance against Ilia Topuria. I don't think it's fair to still say Paddy got fraud checked, right? Because Gaethje has proven a lot of people wrong. He's the type of fighter who spoils parties. But look at this guy's record. One loss to Justin Gaethje, and now we're going to see if he's going to be able to bounce back with a win against BSD. This fight is one of the most fascinating stylistic matchups in the lightweight division, and if you had to summarize it, I would say it's pretty much a grappler versus grappler, honestly speaking. Normally we talk about the striker versus wrestler. Not here, all right? Both men are outstanding grapplers. The difference is how they grapple. BSD has the constant pressure, he has the chain wrestling, he has the ground and pound when you're on the mat, and he has that relentless pace. On the other hand, Paddy Pimblett has the opportunistic submissions. You cannot make a mistake when you're fighting that guy, when you're engaging in any type of grappling with him. He takes advantage of any mistake a fighter makes. He also has the positional control. I think he's a bigger fighter, has a longer reach, and he keeps looking bigger in each of his fights, right? So he's always having that positional control when it comes to grappling. And Paddy is kind of creative with the scrambles. I think he's a little bit more creative, mixing in that with his slick jiu-jitsu. Those are the traits of Paddy Pimblett when it comes to grappling. So elite grapplers right here. This is going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see if they're like, man, let's forget this grappling stuff and stand and bang. That's what we see a lot of times when grapplers fight each other, but a lot of times we end up seeing a technical chess match. But either way, this fight is going to end in chaos. Now, when we talk about the striking, this is where BSD may have the advantage. His boxing has improved, like I said, dramatically, honestly speaking. He's more calculated in the chaos, he's more composed, and it's obvious that he's sticking to his game plan now. He throws harder combinations, in my opinion, than Paddy. He pressures better. Paddy has improved on the feet, but he can still be hit clean. We've seen that, right? Till now, when you watch Paddy, you can't say, oh yeah, he's improved in his defense, he keeps his hands up a little bit more. No, the guy still sucks when it comes to his defense, when it comes to striking, right? And of course, we have to talk about the cardio. Both fighters push a strong pace. BSD weaponizes pressure. Paddy has shown he can maintain a high output when he's disciplined. The championship level conditioning could become a major factor if this fight turns into a grind. And then we have to talk about how it would look with the grappling exchanges. Ironically, the ground might actually be the safest place for both men because they're both skilled there, right? Both are submission threats. Neither wants to make a careless mistake, and I don't see any of them doing that. When we watch this fight, we're going to expect scrambles rather than prolonged control. None of them is going to accept any positional control when it comes to the ground. They're always going to be scrambling, going back and forth. That's what we're going to see in this fight. And when it comes to the path to victory for BSD, number one, he's going to push the pace because that's what he does in all his fights. He's going to try his best not to allow Paddy to settle or get comfortable. And then he's going to start mixing in the striking. BSD is going to use his boxing to open takedown opportunities. And once he sees that, he's not going to waste any time, right? This leads to him staying heavy on top. If BSD lands a takedown, he's not going to rush into submissions, right? But he will start breaking Paddy down. The ground and pounds, he'll start wearing Paddy down and then look for that opportunity if he sees it. But BSD can absolutely finish you with strikes on the ground. Cumulative pressure could lead to a late finish in this fight. If BSD follows his game plan, a TKO or submission becomes very likely because most of his fights, a TKO or submission is likely how it ends. Either way. Now, when it comes to the path to victory for Paddy Pimblett, the strategy is a little different here. He has to try his best to slow the fight down. BSD is not one of those guys where, okay, because he's being aggressive, he's all in your face and everything, you then give him that energy. That's what he's looking for. He's trying to cause chaos in that octagon. And Paddy knows how to stay composed for the most part. He's going to try his best not to get caught in BSD's frantic pace. That's what he's going to try to do. And of course, he's going to try and counter the aggression. Now, I know I said not to engage in the chaos, but you also have to be aggressive when fighting BSD. It has to be controlled chaos. BSD often leaves openings when he charges forward, and that's just something that is inevitable for the most part with that fight style. Paddy is going to try his best to capitalize on any mistake and any openings that he sees. And of course, that's going to lead to him creating scrambles. This is where Paddy shines, honestly speaking. He's extremely dangerous during transitions, and we're going to keep seeing that throughout the fight. And Paddy, once he sees that opportunity throughout the fight, he's going to be hunting for submissions because that's just what he does. Look at his fight against Michael Chandler, right? If BSD gets reckless on the ground, Paddy has the skills to capitalize instantly. But the question is BSD going to get reckless? Is he going to get overzealous, right? Because both fighters are going to try to make a statement in this fight, but they do have to be careful while doing that. The biggest X factor, in my opinion, is who wins the grappling exchanges. I think we'll see them stand for a while. I think this fight is going to be bloody. It's going to be messy. Both guys will have to dig deep, but it's going to come down to who wins those grappling exchanges because there will be a lot of grappling exchanges. Many people expect this to be a striking war. Like I said, that's something we normally see when we have a matchup between two grapplers who have hands. They normally just stand, but I don't think that's what's going to happen in this one. The first fighter who establishes top position consistently may completely control the fight, right? Interestingly, many MMA fans see this matchup as almost a 50-50 contest because both fighters are aggressive finishers with dangerous submission games. Though I feel like the favor has been going towards BSD because of the recency bias with Paddy Pimblett losing to Justin Gaethje. Now, a big question is, when it comes to the chain wrestling, can BSD drag Paddy into deep water, right? Can he break his cardio early, right? He's going to try his best to find an early finish, but he needs to be careful not to make mistakes, right? And he's going to look for some type of ground and pound or a TKO finish, especially when it comes to the clinch. BSD is very good in the clinch, so we're going to see a lot of that. Now, on the other side, Paddy, he has the volume striking, right? He's going to try his best to outwork BSD. He always has the submission threat, right? Drag him to the mat, scramble a little bit, look for that submission. And that's going to be more of a problem if it gets to like the third round. I feel like Paddy might have more advantage there because both guys will be tired in the third round and Paddy is looking for that mistake to happen. This fight has fight of the night written all over it. Both men are aggressive, both are durable, both are elite finishers. Paddy will absolutely have submission opportunities, but at the end of the day, I really do think that BSD has the pressure, the cardio, and increasingly dangerous striking, and that's going to be the deciding factor. The grappling exchanges with the mixing of the striking. I think BSD is just more aggressive, like he has that control chaos energy and handles it better than Paddy, in my opinion. I'm not counting Paddy out. I am one of those people who believes this is a 50-50 fight. This is going to be a close one in my opinion. Paddy, you know, survives some difficult moments early, I think, creates few dangerous scrambles, almost gets a submission, you know, but eventually I feel like the relentless pressure from BSD is going to become too much, and that's how the fight always plays out with BSD. But either way, I think this fight is going to end in a finish. It's a 50-50 fight. I might make another video to change my mind. I've been going back and forth with this one, but let me know what you think in the comments. BSD versus Paddy Pimblett, who'd you got? Let me know what you agree with what I said. Let me know what you disagree with, right? But please don't forget to like this video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, as I do breakdowns like this every single week. I'll see you on the next one.